A lot of people believe that muscle size and raw strength are the ultimate factors in a fight. But is that really true? In this video, we'll take a closer look at what happens when a bodybuilder, someone with massive physical strength, goes up against a real fighter, someone who spent years honing combat skills. First up, we have a fight between a bodybuilder and an MMA fighter, who's a bit older and a little slimmer.
Transitioning to an armbar from mount. It's humbling to see how technique, skill, when built over time.
Right off the bat, the bodybuilder takes control on the ground, using his sheer strength to dominate the grappling exchange.
Position with his glutes, sprawling, putting his weight down, and using his glute to extend and overwhelm Gunnar Nelson's grip. We learned something very important. Look, he could have choked.
Next, we see the bodybuilder face off against an MMA coach, which really highlights just how important grappling skills are in ground fighting, and how they can overpower pure strength. Then, things get intense when an MMA fighter comes in with all-out aggression, taking the fight to the muscle-bound man. But that doesn't mean the big guy is a complete pushover. In fact, every time the MMA fighter strikes, the bodybuilder responds quickly, making things difficult for his opponent. And in a surprising twist, the muscle-bound man lands a punch that knocks the MMA fighter off balance, causing him to fall. But the MMA fighter isn't about to let a show of muscle stop him. He eventually brings the fight to the ground, hoping to take control there. Watch what happens when an average bodybuilder trying to act tough faces off against a fighter who's a seasoned martial arts expert. Next, we see a similar scenario unfold. This time, a 260-pound bodybuilder underestimates a professional female MMA fighter. Roy Nelson, known for his iconic beard and solid, stocky frame, is one of the most recognizable names in MMA. With his strong kung fu background and years of experience, Nelson is more than ready to take on opponents in the cage. One of his most famous wins came against Antonio Bigfoot Silva.
Last night and done some training with the Shaolin Temple. It said that that's something you've always done, but we just now seen about it. Is this something you did specifically for this fight?
You know what? Specifically for Bigfoot.
Nelson landed his legendary right hand, followed by a brutal ground and pound, finishing the fight with a spectacular knockout in the second round. Fast forward to his most recent victory on May 5th, 2023, against Dylan Kleckler.
45 3/4 pounds tonight. This bare-knuckle veteran enters the cage with
Nelson's sheer strength seemed to give him the upper hand in this fight, especially at the end of the first round. A devastating right hand sent Kleckler crashing to the canvas, unable to continue. Nelson even threw one last punch before the referee stepped in to stop the fight.
Right hand off there. Okay. So he throws the left hook to load his right hand.
Next, we watch a huge bodybuilder take on a professional wrestler who's half his size.
Safe to say, specificity matters, but I would love to see how the bodybuilder would actually respond to some real wrestling training. What do you guys think?
In the world of combat sports, size and muscles don't always translate into better fighting skills. This was made crystal clear when a massive bodybuilder stepped up to challenge Conor McGregor, thinking his enormous strength would give him the advantage. The reality was far from what he expected, and he was left humiliated after a crushing defeat.
Yes.
Now, let's switch gears to a different moment, where a large fighter walks into a jiu-jitsu dojo and challenges the master to a fight. The two engage in a long, intense ground battle. The bodybuilder proves to be a tough opponent, managing to break free from the jiu-jitsu master's attempts to lock him down, using nothing but his raw muscle strength.
I need to go to my corner. Hold on.
At one point, the bodybuilder takes his shirt off, signaling he's ready to get serious. But the jiu-jitsu master isn't backing down. With newfound determination, he locks the bodybuilder in a necklock and takes control.
Take your ass home, pretty boy.
In the end, the muscle-bound challenger is left helpless, suffering a humiliating defeat.
Who's the master? And you are. Yeah, say it. Say it loud.